Hey, what's up everyone? Today we are going to talk about something that's pretty crazy. The Pokemon developers have now responded to the Palworld success, and it's interesting. They're actually talking about taking a look at the intellectual property and see if everything really matches. And we're going to get into that right now. So with that being said, if this is your second time stopping by the channel, feel free to subscribe now and let's go ahead and dive right into this. What we are going to do first here is take a look at the recent statement by the Pokemon developers. As you can tell right here, there's this translation down below. And what it says is right here. Inquiries regarding other company games. We have received many inquiries regarding another company's game released in January 2024. We have not granted any permission for the use of Pokemon intellectual property or assets in that game. We intend to investigate and take appropriate measures to address any acts that infringe on intellectual property rights related to Pokemon. We will continue to cherish and nurture each and every Pokemon and its world, and work to bring the world together through Pokemon in the future. The Pokemon Company. Well, right now it does not look too good for Palworld because the developers, or at least Pokemon in general, are definitely targeting Palworld with red sights. They definitely have their crosshairs on them, and I'm interested whether or not this is going to end well for Pokemon or Palworld. If Pokemon is definitely incorrect on this and they're just falsely claiming, just like a lot of people I guess have. Again, I'm not claiming that they have, because I cannot tell you whether or not one side's true or the other side's true. I'm just here to report on it. But honestly, if Palworld is legitimately taking assets, that's not going to look good on them. And if Pokemon is assuming that they're taking assets and it's proven that it's false, then it definitely looks bad on Pokemon. I'm genuinely interested on your thoughts on this matter, whether or not you think Pokemon is right or if Palworld's right. If you were to ask me, I think that's a really difficult question to answer. The whole situation is completely bonkers. I'm lost for words because at least I did not think this would ever happen, to where, you know, just some sort of indie developer comes up and totally wrecks the charts, and then you have Pokemon coming through being like, oh, well, what's going on over here? You're stealing my stuff. Then what do you know? You have the World of Warcraft developer putting his 2 cents into it, comparing models, and we'll get into that as well if you missed out on the previous 2 videos or whatever. But yeah, it's just completely insane. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, we'll find out in the next few days. I'm pretty damn sure of it. There was some tweet replies about this specifically, with one user saying they're scared that Palworld is getting more successful. Then another comment said, so they gonna do nothing? This right here is pretty interesting. I'm not too sure if Pokemon's scared, because I would assume they have a lot of money and a lot of time for lawyers. Anyways, as I mentioned a few seconds ago, let me know what you think about Pokemon talking about Palworld in this type of way. Did they really steal assets? Let me know down below. We are now going to move onwards here and talk about this situation a bit more. If you did not know, there was a developer over at Rocksteady that actually responded to this whole situation. But first, let me give credit to the Reddit user that actually got a screenshot of this. There is a Reddit user by the name of Digithorn. This user said, AAA developers are so salty. Because if you take a look at the image here, there's actually a response by a user in this screenshot here, specifically by a developer that's previously at Respawn and Rocksteady Games. This senior artist had this to say: my gut is telling me Palworld was made nefariously. I just have no proof. Just dev intuition. Right down below, there was another user who responded with, it does feel like that, doesn't it? Then the developer responded with, making a game is just so difficult. They're cheating somehow, I just can't pinpoint how. And okay, so this is pretty controversial here, and allegations, of course. He cannot prove it, he cannot say how exactly they're cheating, but he kind of has a hunch. There was some sort of backlash towards this because one Reddit user had this to say in response. Anyone with a shred of knowledge of AI and Blender would know that all those allegations are fake. But what irks me more is how this small team of indie developers is getting such a rough treatment. Just because their game is successful This is just double standards at its worst. And speaking of allegations, if you guys missed out on a video I uploaded about 3 days ago, I talked about a developer, specifically a World of Warcraft X developer, that had basically compared two different models, one from a Pokemon game and one from the Palworld game. What he ended up doing was comparing the two models, combining them together to see if they perfectly fit, and surprisingly they did. Some believe that this is actually fake, and we'll take a look at this right here. This Twitter user named TTV Palmer had this to say right here down below. Apologies. It has been proven that Palworld was not made with AI and was not made with stolen assets. In fact, look how the models are a 1:1 ratio. Twitter users later admit to scaling them to fit. Y'all couldn't find a legitimate reason for anger and fabricated it. Now, it is fair to note that the screenshots that he included in this post is a different screenshot from what the developer, the ex-developer, had posted. So what this user is referring to is a different type of model comparison that another user did to match the proportions. If this is correct, then yeah, it's fabricated for sure, which it appears to be, at least the images he shared. Now, the images from the ex-World of Warcraft developer looked pretty legit. It seemed like nothing was made up, but again, I did not compare the models, so I would assume that this developer would not do such a thing. Yet you never know with people in general, but you would not assume that this developer would do such a thing, because why would you? You know, it just seems useless. Seems like a pretty dumb thing to do. Yet we'll find out over the next few days what's legit and what's not legit, because you guys know that Pokemon, as I mentioned at the start, is looking into this matter. Also, if you're wondering what I was referring to in terms of the ex-developer's images, if you take a look on the screen here, here's some screenshots of what he was comparing to, but there's also a really interesting video I had shared from this developer, and you should definitely check that one out, or go ahead and check out his Twitter account, because right now his views on that specific post have really skyrocketed. And the screenshot that I'm going to include in this video actually has 6.6 million views, but it's fair to note that this could have changed since then. This post has really just shot out to space at this point. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at what he had to say. This user named Covington Town had this to say: to accidentally create a complex model mesh with so near exact proportions is practically impossible. To repeat that improbability throughout your roster doesn't pass the sniff test. It definitely doesn't, but it also does not make things any better, considering that the CEO also talked about manipulating Pokemon images so that he could then go around the copyright protection to produce different types of Pokemon. This right here is where everyone started to lose their minds. They were legitimately thinking, okay, this is where he got his creativity from. He manipulated a Pokemon image using AI, and then he was able to create some new Pokemon from the distorted image. And if that's the case, maybe it's okay. I couldn't tell you, because it just feels like AI has like this weird blurry line between what's right and what's wrong. And for this situation, I feel like it would be somewhat wrong to do that, to go around the copyright protection so that you can produce just your own type of Pokemon with the same exact type of style. And that's where I find it completely wrong, because you're stealing the art, the style, the way it was created. And on top of that, if they are proven guilty and that they have actually stolen assets as well, then this all looks pretty terrible for them. Honestly, I would like to tell you guys that I'm keeping an open mind about this. I'm not going to dig too deep into it to where I'm believing one side over the other. I'm trying to really look at it from both perspectives. In this video, you're really going to tell that I've tried my best to really bring out both of the sides here. One side telling that, hey, they're telling a lie, and one side saying, hey, they have definitely copied assets. Whether one side's correct or the other side's not, we'll find out over the next few days, you know, as time goes on. What I would like to know is your exact thoughts on everything in today's video. You know, the developer's response, the other responses from all the other folks. The whole situation has just gone completely bonkers, and I don't really know what to think anymore. Really, I just don't. The whole thing has got me lost for words. So let me know what you think about this whole entire situation down below in the comments section. Anyways, if you would like to know more about this information specifically, make sure that you are subscribed and you have your notifications on. I will be reporting more about this as time does go on, and if you have any questions about today's video, make sure that you ask down below. Or better yet, if you have any questions about a previous video, you can do that as well. Also, if you have not watched the previous videos about glitches, I highly recommend that. And if you're still a fan of Cyberpunk, definitely check out those Cyberpunk videos. They're well worth watching. I just uploaded one recently about the Secret Claw cyberware. It's definitely worth watching because it's a file that was data mined out of the Cyberpunk files. So just overall, a lot of videos you should definitely be checking out. If you guys have any questions, remember, ask down below. Thank you for the support, and I'll see you all in the next video.